Just 1 month after version 0.7 Assetto Corsa EVO is already releasing early access version 0.8 today, which comes as a huge surprise to me. Yesterday we got a 1-day head start to produce this video, and I'm starting to get worried. Even when I did the intro for the last video, I thought it was a pretty light update with 0.7 and that Kunos was surely cooking up something really big behind the scenes for the next early access releases. Something like the announced free roam Eifel open world, tuning options, or at least a good racing AI for the single player crowd. I probably sound like a broken record now, but once again, none of that will arrive today. The highlights this time are 3 new cars and a new track, most of which were already available in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Otherwise, there are a few promising improvements for all VR users, and we've looked at those too. Version 0.7 introduced mod support a month ago, and the community has already been hard at work. So on our website overtake.gg you can now download a banana car from user Syndroid and use it to cruise around the Nordschleife, for example. Check out the first link in the video description to sign up on our page. You can do this with a free account or become a premium member for just €1 per month, which helps support our work as much as possible and gives you a few extra benefits, like the racing club that also hosts great AC EVO events by now. But now, let's dive into this video. Welcome back to Overtake, I'm Michel, and first we're going to run a performance test comparing versions 0.7 and 0.8. The changelog lists some VRAM optimizations, but based on my benchmarks that's unlikely to make a much of a difference, with ultra settings on a system featuring an RTX 4080 Super and a Ryzen 9800X 3D at 5120 by 1440. The FPS here during a Nordschleife race with 21 AI drivers is very similar, around 80, with brief dips into the 60s after Sabine Schmidt's corner, so no big changes there. But what immediately stands out are these 3 points in the patch notes: enhanced windshield rendering, updated wiper refraction effect, added windshield raindrop splash effect, and that definitely looks better. And in my footage, it looks like we're consistently gaining 5 to sometimes even 10 more FPS in the rain. The tarmac wet shader also got aligned, in case you haven't noticed it. I think that's quite drastic. The AI, by the way, is just as clueless as ever. Marco Masaruto gave us so much hope in early interviews that they will deliver a super good AI experience, but so far it doesn't show. One of my biggest concerns as we are getting closer to 1.0. Then there are major updates in the VR department. My colleague Sven tested it on his RTX 5080 system, and his words were that the improvements are super krass, which basically means freaking great. He used the medium graphics preset in both versions 0.7 and 0.8. There is now a brand new VR graphics menu with options for pixel density, foveated rendering, world scale, and more. Eye tracking didn't quite work yet with the Pimax Dream Air that he used, and he also enabled the spectator view to capture the output. You can also disable that feature to save some resources. Without too much tweaking, with pixel density still set to 100%, it already ran smoother and looked better. As a result, stable, locked 90 FPS were now possible on a dry Nordschleife driving alone. In version 0.7 it only managed 75 to 80 FPS in this scenario. Even in the rain with opponent cars, you can now get an average of 10 to 15 more FPS. VR users are definitely recommended to try this update. Feel free to let us know in the comments what frame rates you're achieving on which headset with which hardware, and what options differed the biggest room for tweaking. That should be interesting for a lot of people out there. On your way to the comment section, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you for your support. Version 0.8 also brings a reunion with some old ACC friends, and they're all pretty awesome. The new track is the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, and I immediately took it for a spin. in the KTM X-Bow GT2, which was one of my absolute favorites in ACST's DLC back then. The concept is absolutely perfect. You wrap the legendary Audi 5-cylinder turbo in a mid-engine layout with plenty of carbon fiber and squeeze 600 horsepower out of it. The result is a brutal race car that's just plain fun to drive. And with the AC EVO tire model, it now feels much more responsive and even more like a true mid-engine car than it did in ACC. The traction control works very well here too, and you can hear it clearly when it kicks in. The X-Bow, the Maserati, Porsche and AMG make GT2 the best class for me in AC EVO right now. The KTM X-Bow GT4 is also making a comeback in AC EVO 0.8. With a curb weight of under 1000 kilograms, it's nearly 300 kilograms lighter than the GT2, but it's also powered by just a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine with 360 horsepower. Its handling on the track is very similar though, it's a bit more forgiving maybe. You can brake very late, and as expected, the steering response is incredibly direct. It's also one of those race cars that simply exudes driving fun and agility in my opinion. Kunos have done a great job of capturing that in the car's physics. The GT4 class definitely needs more competitors before version 1.0, because so far the X-Bow is only competing against the Audi and the Porsche. For fans of street cars, version 0.8 brings the Volkswagen Golf 8R. By the way, the gold rims are my own work. I'm hoping to convince Kunos to finally release a Subaru as well. I have to nitpick right away and point out one detail. This Golf with IQ light, as it shows on the rear light, should actually have those dynamic turn signals with a light animation that moves from the inside out. But here it's static. I think it's wrong on the Audis too. Otherwise, the attention to detail is once again excellent, and we even have driving modes from the real-world model, like drift mode and even Nürburgring mode, which was largely tuned by race and development driver Benny Leuchter of Volkswagen. A Golf R is of course significantly slower in response and more front-heavy than sports cars or race cars, but it's still fun and fast. In drift mode, you can even induce oversteer by accelerating a little bit too early out of a turn, thanks to the torque splitter on the rear axle. The fact that you can play around with these modes is really cool in itself, because very few simulators have implemented them with such attention to detail so far. This Golf's model in AC EVO also features the Akrapovic exhaust, which provides that extra plop-plop sound here and then. There are still a few nice little additions in this update. Some cars have received an extra livery that can serve as a placeholder for custom liveries. So the designers among you now have more options for creating car skins for AC EVO. I've seen that there are already quite a few of them in our download section. Of course, there were also a few bug fixes and even the option to create servers with modded cars. So nothing stands in the way of our banana race anymore. Projection correction was also added as an option, probably interesting for all that got strongly curved monitors. Other than that, that's it for version 0.8. The full changelog is on our website as well, overtake.gg in the news section. Yeah, AC EVO has reached a respectable scope, especially when it comes to tracks. We already have more than was originally announced. The online racing community is also growing steadily, but the real game changer is still missing. There aren't any rolling starts yet, and we have already discussed the lackluster AI. I had hoped for more from version 0.8, but with the finish line so close, I don't want to lose patience or judge too harshly before I've seen early access 0.9 and eventually version 1.0. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. Have fun trying it out, and feel free to check out this live stream where we tested the latest major update and the DLC for Automobilista 2 together. See you next time. Bye bye.